Hello ladies, happy Thursday. Today we're going to be talking about financing options, and so that means prepayment installments and post-payment installments. I actually just had a conversation with someone who wants to do a session and she's like, I gotta save up for it. So this is going to be a perfect live for you to watch because we just talked about that. I get a lot of questions about this. Even women who have already booked their shoots, they come in for their session and they're in hair and makeup and I'm walking them through everything and they're like, okay, so how does like the paying in installments work? So I think the more educated you are before you come in, the easier the process is. So we are very, very flexible about doing financing options with in-house plans. We have prepayment plans, we have post-payment plans. So we're gonna talk about that today. And if you have used or utilized some of our payment, financing, and installing options, leave a comment below. I think a lot of women, I think that there's like this element of like, I don't want to say shame, but like, I don't know, it makes them feel some kind of way whenever they have to use a financing option. And I really feel like I want to let you guys know that most of my clients who come in have used and taken advantage of that. So don't feel bad, don't feel shameful, like don't feel any sort of negativity towards utilizing that, because here's what happens. 9 times out of 10, you come into the studio and you have this budget in mind. You're like, I am only going to get 10 images, okay? There's no way I'm gonna like more images than that. I'm only going to get 10 images. And then you come in, you look at your images and you love so many of them. You're like, I don't know how I'm gonna narrow them down to 10. And I know that that's a real problem. And so that's why I have financing options that are like very, very flexible. And we kind of like work with you how we can to make sure that you walk away with as many images as you love, okay? So what do our payment plans, installments, and financing options look like? Well, I will tell you. So we have this little menu that you get, if you book a session with us, you get sent a copy of this, okay? It says payment options. All right, so first option, pay in full. Excellent, we love that, of course. And that is if you want to use cash for some, if you want to use a credit card for a portion. Basically, if your balance is paid for, you get your products delivered right away, you get your digitals right away, and you don't have to wait. The second option, and I want to talk about this a little bit because I used to really do this a lot and then I kind of moved away from it, but it is still an option. So if this sounds like an option for you, comment, PM me, whatever, because it is something that we offer, is prepayment installments. So what that means is if you know that your shoot is in December and you're like, okay, I want to save up some money, but maybe you don't like, saving money, putting money aside every paycheck takes, for one, you got to be mindful. You got to remember like, oh, okay, I want to put some money. It takes a lot of effort, right? And like for me, somebody with ADHD, like I would never remember to do that. So what we do is you tell us, okay, I want you every paycheck. So let's say you get paid every other week. I want you every other Friday to draw $100 out of my debit card. And then clearly it's a mutual agreement. So we will pull $100 out of your debit card every other Friday until you come in for your shoot. And then by the time you come in for your shoot, you got a little piggy bank on your account already that you don't have to, it's just done, out of sight, out of mind. Half the people forget about it and they're like, oh, that's right, shit, I got $600 on my account. Okay, not gonna hurt as much, right? So, and if you do that, we have some bonuses that you can access. So like if you've seen images with like the big feathers That is like a bonus prop that you get access to if you prepay. There's also other little fun upgrades that you get access to if you prepay. But it's not something that we really advertise a whole lot, but it is something that we offer. And so that's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about that today, is because a lot of people don't know about it. But it does kind of take some of the weight off of your wallet whenever you come in for your shoot. And let's be honest, right? So like not a ton of you guys come in and schedule a shoot for say next week, right? You want some time to lose a little bit of weight, you want some time to go shopping, and so if your shoot is a couple of months in advance, then it gives you some time to kind of start making some payments toward your purchase. You know you're gonna spend a certain amount anyway, so you might as well just kind of like put a little bit aside, and then we kind of take a little bit of that workload off of you. Okay, so you can pay in full, and you can do a prepayment installment plan. Okay, so let's talk about post-session installments and financing. Okay, so we do offer in-house financing. Here's the caveat about in-house financing. You don't get your products or images or files or anything until your balance is paid in full. And if you're willing to wait and you're not on a timeline and you are patient, that might be a really good option for you. I'm gonna be honest though, a lot of you guys that come into the studio, you see your pictures and you're like, oh my God, I want them now. So, and I get it, like I would want mine right away too. So here are the details about in-house financing. There is a setup fee. Our retainer is $250. So I will leave a link in the comments so that you can schedule a phone consult with our booking team, and they will go over everything with you and answer all the questions about like logistics and timeline. And the overall cost really depends on how many images you want to purchase, if you just want digitals, if you want an album, if you want wall art, stuff like that. So it can really range. But our retainer to get into the studio with hair and makeup and your photo shoot is $250. Okay, so whenever you do an in-house financing, that essentially means that you pay a down payment towards your purchase. There is a financing fee because we handle everything in-house for that. It's 50 bucks. And then it's kind of similar to what we do for the prepayment, where we keep your card on file and you can split your total up over 6 months. Okay, so 6 months is the longest time frame that we do. And so you pay a down payment of a minimum of $699, and then we split the rest up over a 6-month period. If you want to do it over a 3-month period, you can do that as well. One of the questions that we get a lot for in-house payment plans is, does it have to be for 6 months? And is it only once a month, or can I pay more often? And the answer is that it does not have to be 6 months. It can be sooner, and you do not have to pay once a month. So like I mentioned earlier, a lot of my clients, if you get paid every other week, then we can draw out of your card on file twice a month. And so that kind of helps ease the pain on your wallet a little bit as well. So the caveat is you don't get your images or products until your balance is paid in full. And there is a down payment required. That is a minimum. Now, if you want to pay more than that, excellent. The other thing that is nice is that if you do a payment plan through us and you get a bonus or you get a tax return or something like that, and you want to pay off your balance early, you can absolutely do that. So it does give you a little bit of control over how your payments come out and stuff like that. We don't charge interest. We just charge that setup fee and the down payment, but there is no interest or anything like that. So that is one of the perks about doing. If you don't have, let's say that your credit score is not amazing, but you have some cash, then that might be a really good option for you. Okay, so I am going to talk about the last option for financing and payment plans, and that is Affirm, Klarna, Afterpay, and PayPal Credit. And the reason why these are lumped together is because these are all sort of the same service. It's like a loan light. Okay, and so we get a lot of questions about this. So I'm going to talk about PayPal Credit first. If you have a PayPal account and you have used PayPal before, there is something called PayPal Pay Later, I think, and that is not the same as PayPal Credit. I don't know why. I don't know what the I don't know what the Pay Later thing is. To be honest, I'm not super familiar with it. And then there's like a PayPal credit card too, I think. And I think that's just like a credit card. But PayPal Credit is, and these are all kind of the same in terms of like application process. So a lot of you have used Affirm before, and a lot of you have used Afterpay. And so you have to apply to be approved. So you do need a little bit of credit. They do a soft credit check. I do know that PayPal is offering 6 months of 0 interest, I believe. So they have a tendency, I have seen my clients who use PayPal regularly get approved for larger amounts of money through PayPal Credit than other areas. So if you use PayPal regularly and you have a decent amount of credit, that might be an option that you want to use. You apply just like you would any other financing term, and then they run your credit, and then you get approved for a certain amount. It's up to you if you want to use that full credit or if you just want to use a portion. And then the same thing for Afterpay, Affirm, and Klarna. You apply, they do a soft credit check, and then you're approved for a certain amount. So one of the things that I want to address that comes up from time to time from clients is if you shop, let's say, like if you shop online and you buy clothes or you buy, small appliances or furniture, things like that, and you use Affirm, and you've used Affirm, but it's for like kind of smaller amounts, maybe like $200 or $300. It doesn't necessarily mean that you will get approved for a very, very large amount. Okay, so let's say that you go into Louis Vuitton and there's a bag there and it's $2,000, and you're like, well, I have Affirm and I've used it before, so I'm going to use Affirm to buy this $2,000 bag from Louis Vuitton. Just because you've used Affirm for very small amounts, like $200 or $500, does not mean that you have $2,000 to use Affirm for to buy that Louis Vuitton bag. There is you still have a credit limit that you're approved for, kind of like a credit card. So if you know that you're coming in and you've only used Affirm for maybe $100 or $300 or something like that, I would double check your account to make sure to see what your limit is or what you're approved for to use, so that you kind of have an idea of what you're working with. Now, I will say that Afterpay does have a limit on what my store can accept. And I'm going to be totally honest with y'all, I've only gotten Afterpay to work twice. Like every client that comes in that tries to use Afterpay, they either get denied or they get approved, but then we run it and it gets declined, or like Afterpay is really persnickety, I find, and we've only been able to have it work twice. So if you used other financing options, I would maybe use Afterpay as like a plan B, because it's really finicky and I am not crazy about using it because it's kind of hard to use, to be honest. Okay, yeah. Klarna, I have not had any issues with. Affirm, I have not had any issues with. And PayPal Credit, I have not had any issues with. Okay, so let's say that you have $1,000 in cash that you are gonna bring with you to your shoot, and you're like, I'm gonna put this cash down. I'm not really sure what I wanna purchase. Maybe I'll love all the images. You know, maybe I'm keeping an open mind, okay? So you come in and you love your images and you wanna buy everything, and it's way more than your $1,000. So we can split it up as well. So I had a client on last week. She knew that she had a certain amount on, I believe it was a firm. Yeah, she knew that she had a certain amount on a firm, and then she just she used some cash, she used her credit on a firm, and then she used the rest and paid with a credit card or a debit card. So we can also split it up that way as well. Like I said, I want to make sure that you walk away with the images that you love. I don't want you to leave any images on the table that you're in love with. And so we can kind of split it up into different payment, like tenders as well. So if you guys want me to leave links to how you apply for any of these things, let me know in the comments. I'll leave a link. Danielle, I'll also leave a link for you to schedule a phone consult with Sarah or Ashley, and they will get you all lined up. We do have 2 dates that just opened in November, November 22nd and November 27th. Now the 27th is the day before Thanksgiving, so teachers, you're off that week, okay? So if you want to come in and you're like, oh, I can't get off school, I can only do weekends, blah, 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 the 27th is going to be your day because you're off school. So, but anyway, so to kind of recap a little bit, financing, Klarna, Affirm, Afterpay, PayPal credit, you do have to apply. They do run a credit check, so you do need to have a little bit of credit for you to be able to use that. And then you pay them. The perk is that you get your images and your products right away. It's normal timeline. You don't have to wait, because if you decide, like, let's be honest, if you decide that you want to stop making payments on your Klarna, you have to deal with them. You don't have to deal with me. So that's a really good option if you're in a hurry to get your stuff, but you don't have a whole lot of cash on hand, or maybe you don't really want to use your credit card because interest rates are super high right now. I don't blame you. I wouldn't want to do it either. But a lot of these programs offer 0% financing, 0% like interest for the first 6 months if you're using these for the first time. We can do in-house financing, and that is a down payment of $699 and a $50 financing fee. You do not get your products until your balance is paid in full. 6 months is the longest that we do. And then of course you can pay in full, and you can do partial cash, you can do partial card, and split it up however you need. And then if you're coming on late and miss the part about the prepayments, that is where we save your card on file and you tell us how much you want us to auto draft from your card, how often and when, and then we do that. And whenever you come in, you have a little piggy bank on your account that you can apply towards your purchase. So yeah, that is prepayment, post-payment, and financing options.